So that is step one in persuasion, is to listen. Step two is to highlight areas of agreement. So often when we argue, we highlight areas of disagreement, right? When we're talking to someone about a topic and there's an aspect of it we disagree about, we will focus in on the thing we disagree about. We will exaggerate our positions. We will highlight the disagreement. When you're trying to be persuasive, you want to do the exact opposite. You want to find common ground. You want to start by highlighting, hey, we agree on this, we agree on this, we agree on this. And really to build up the idea that we agree on more things than we disagree about. You need to be honest and sincere about the areas you agree on. So, there are some instances where we feel like we are just, on the opposite ends of the earth with some people about our beliefs. Politics is a good example of this. And during the primaries, I was a big Bernie Sanders supporter. Shocking, I'm sure. And one of my good friends is a big Trump supporter, and so we had all these political arguments and stuff. And actually, I was making this lecture at that time, and I was like, oh, I should actually be applying this. So the next time we started talking about politics, instead of arguing with him and criticizing, I took a different tact, and I said, oh man, I will say that I really like that Trump doesn't have super PACs, because this was back when he was running in the primaries and he didn't have super PACs. I like that he wasn't accepting corporate money in that way. And I also like that he came out and said that the Iraq War was a bad decision, which is kind of against Republican orthodoxy to say, or it was at the time. But I agreed with that. So, I was like, those are the two things that I really like about the candidate. And I wanted to find common ground with him, but it had to be honest and sincere, right? And, when we think about talking about what we like about the other side politically, that's so many people are just completely unwilling to even go there. But there is something, you have to find some level of common ground. There's always something that you can genuinely appreciate about the other person's perspective or opinion. And you need to find that and build on it. Now, another thing this does is it exploits the rule of reciprocity. So the rule of reciprocity is one of the most ubiquitous rules of human behavior that we have across cultures, across time. If someone gives you something, you feel indebted to give them something back. You feel obligated to give them something back. And this holds true everywhere across all times. If you ever go down to Fisherman's Wharf, which I don't know why you would do that, but if you ever do, there's all these, quote, Buddhist monks, unquote, that are walking around, and they come up to you and they put a bracelet around your wrist, and then they ask for a donation. And this has got to be like, what, a 25-cent flimsy bracelet. But they give it to you, and then you're like, oh man, now I have to give them something in return, right? That's the rule of reciprocity. So you can exploit this in persuasion as well, because like when I started complimenting Trump, my friend, and I didn't like prompt him to do this, is just how he naturally responded, he started complimenting Bernie Sanders and saying what he liked about Bernie Sanders as a candidate. Now, what's so great about that is that it is we are our best persuaders, right? So now instead of me trying to force my opinion on him from the outside, he's coming up with his own reasons to agree with me. And that is much more persuasive in the long run than me giving him reasons to agree with me. So we listen to the other person to understand their point of view. We highlight areas of agreement. We build on common ground instead of focusing on where we're different. And then we state what we believe. So we simply state what we believe and why we believe it. And we do it in a way that aligns with the other person's values and criteria. So we need to know what is important to other people. So when we explain our opinion, we can explain it in a way that that aligns with what they care about, that makes it personal, and meaningful to them. And we don't say it, hey, this is what you should believe, or this is the right thing to believe. We just say, hey, this is what I believe. This is my 2 cents. I'm not pressuring you to agree with me. I'm just stating my opinion. We listen to understand. We highlight areas of agreement. We state what we believe. And then the last thing we do is be patient. The last aspect of persuasion is being patient. That we often like we go to movies and like someone will come in and make a speech and everyone stands up and cheers and everyone changes their mind because this person is so persuasive. That is an incredibly rare thing in real life. People often take days, weeks, months, years to change their mind about something. And the more you pressure them to change their mind, the more defensive they're going to be. And often, the reason our persuasion efforts fail is because we think of persuasion efforts on a timeline of a conversation, whereas we need to think of persuasion on a timeline of years, where it's really thinking in long term, in thinking about the long term and how you can change people's opinions and perspectives, and being patient and willing to give them time to reflect on things. And that is how you are persuasive. That is how you persuade. You begin by listening non-judgmentally, then you highlight areas of agreement, you build on common ground, you state what you believe very simply, and then you be patient.